It is the Sports Fix here on Flow FM. Let's take a look at Hume Netball now. Results from last weekend first, and then we'll preview what's coming up this weekend. Joining me on the line, Carla Fletcher is back for Hume Netball. How are you, Carla?
I'm well, thanks, Jason. How are you going?
Very well, thank you. Round 11 of matches it was last weekend, and gee whiz, we had a couple of very interesting games, including a dead set thriller between Culcairn and Lockhart, and the two teams couldn't be split.
No, it was an absolutely fantastic game. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting in the next few weeks.
Well, that's a huge result for a number of reasons. I mean, when it comes to Lockhart now, it's as good as a loss, I guess, because it puts them another half a game behind Ginder and Osborne there in the top two. But it does sort of separate them out from that chasing pack at fourth and fifth. So, and for Culcairn, well, that's their second draw of the year. So all of a sudden, percentage matters again to them.
Yes, no, and they've got some tight games coming up in the next few weeks. So it should be interesting, and it might just, it's better than a loss. But, those 2 points might come in very handy for both teams.
They could, indeed. So, big result, that one, for both clubs. But let's have a look at some of the other results from the weekend. The Billabong Crows did what they needed to do against Randall Bundry Waller. And for mine, I think that might just be the final nail in the Randall Bundry Waller finals coffin. I know it's still mathematically possible, but it's getting tricky now.
Yeah, but they really started out really well last week against the Crows, and they were only down by about 1 goal at half time. But then the Crows just picked up their pace in the third quarter, and they went on to finish the game with a 14-goal win. Brianna Higgins from Randall Bundry Waller was again strong in defence against a really strong goalie, and she took home the mug with Kaylee Asanitis playing a great game in wing defence. And the Brooklyn Maloney and Paige Maloney once again played really well for the Crows, and also Coach Millie Ferguson. She ran a really hard, fast game in the centre, and she intercepted a lot of loose balls.
A very important win for the Crows. They're fifth on percentage at the moment, so they'll be eyeing off a home final. It looks as though they'll be playing that first week of the final series. But Ginder, on the other hand, may not be. They look like they're going to finish top two. Ginder 85, Henty 26, the old-fashioned top versus bottom clash, and we kind of got the scoreline you would expect from it.
Yeah, it was a pretty big score for Ginder on the weekend, but they were without one of their regular shooters in Daria Farrington. But Sam Creasy scored 43 goals, and Chelsea Burns. So both girls stepped up in the goal circle, and Chelsea actually scored 42. So it was a huge, massive display of shooting from those two girls. Yeah. And Gindra's full court pressure, it was just a little bit too strong in the second half. But credit to Henty, the score was, not reflective of how they played. They showed some great fight for the full game and had some great passages of play. And best players for Henty were Rachel Turlick and Brandy Muller, and the two shooters for Gindra, Chelsea and Sam, took out their award.
Okay. Another disappointing result for CDHBU. How long, though? Well, they're not doing much wrong at the moment. 72-29 at Careen, so a big away win, another win for How Long, which keeps them in that hosting a home final spot, I guess, in the first week. They're around that fourth spot, so third or fourth, they'd be pretty happy to finish there, I would have thought.
Yeah, no, they had a great win on the weekend, and then mid-quarters, they really started to show how strong they are. And Olivia Baker, she played in wing attack, and Kirby McDonald played in the centre. They were the best players for How Long. And Tamia Richardson and Kath Woods had great games for CDHBU. But, How Long are really starting to just show why they're up there in the top six, and that was a great win for them.
Yep, 8 wins, 3 losses so far for How Long. They're going okay. Hardly putting a foot wrong. So well done to them. Other matches in round 11. So Osborne did what they had to do against the Murray Magpies. Not a bad performance from the Magpies, but just not good enough to beat the canola farmers from Osborne. 66-39 the final score.
Yeah, it was another good win for Osborne. And look, they showed that in the first quarter when the scores were pretty close at quarter time. They knew what they had to do, and they just took control for the lead for the rest of the game. Coach Sally Hunter, she stepped up into the goal ring with Karen Hugo as one of their regular regular shooters. Lucy Bennett was away, and Sarah Schneider and Brianna O'Connell really worked hard in the defence. And the best on court, for the Magpies were Gabrielle Robinson. She played wing attack and centre, and also their coach, Kira Nicholson, had a strong game in centre and wing defence.
Okay. And last match of the round last week, Holbrook have worked their way up to 8th position on the ladder now. They were just a little bit too good in a low-scoring game for the Brockburham Saints.
Yeah, look, but it was still a great competitive game. Holbrook's defensive pressure, they applied that a little bit across the court, a little bit more consistency, which resulted in some turnovers and, look, just some lapses of passing for the Saints. But Rachel Kaczynski, for one of the Saints defenders, she had a really solid game and she was best on court. And also Beck Livermore and Jemima Dunstan played well. And Holbrook's awards went to their wing defence, Liv Hearn and Claire Marriott, who just kept putting the goals up and working hard against a really tight Saints defence.
All right. So that is last week's matches, round 11. Let's have a look at the ladder now. And Osborne on top of it, 10 wins, 1 loss, along with Jinder at 10 wins, 1 loss. Only about 15 percentage points separating the two there. So they look good things at the moment to finish 1 and 2. But Lockhart is still chasing. They're 8 wins, 2 losses and a draw now. Interesting that that draw last weekend, I think, hurts them more than it hurts Colcan. So I think if you Lockhart, they're dropped points rather than gained points, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, and the game that it was on the weekend was just, you just couldn't split both sides. And, it was just, the goalies did their job with 116 goal score for the whole game. It was just full court pressure for the whole 60 minutes. It was a fantastic game.
Yep. So how long, and the Billabong Crows, 4th and 5th, probably the only two sides that can get to the top 2.
Yeah, but I think Ginger and Osborne will keep continuing to win, and you're going to have to really play out of your skin to take that second spot. Yeah, but you don't know.
No, that's it.
At the moment, yeah.
But I think the most interest now is the battle for 6th. So Colcan on 5 wins and 2 draws, so effectively 6 wins. They're a game clear of the Murray Magpies. And Holbrook are still loitering around. They're on 3 wins and a draw, so they've still got significant amount of work to do, but they're not out of the equation just yet.
No, they're not. But I mean, look, it's just at the moment it's the luck of the draw and who you're up against. And Holbrook take on Osborne this weekend, and I'm sure Osborne's not going to let them get the 4 points. So, it's just unfortunate at this time of the year who you have to play and where they are situated on the ladder.
Yep. We'll look at those in a moment, but Randall, Bundry, Wallace, CDHBU, Brockburham Saints and Henty in order, 9th to 12th. I don't think any one of those 4 can make it from here. So we move on now to have a look at round 12 of matches, and you mentioned it, Holbrook and Osborne. Let's start there. Holbrook doing the hosting against the Osborne crew, who are top of the ladder for a reason.
Yeah, and look, as I said before, I think Osborne are going to be too strong. It's the home stretch now, and they'll just be putting one foot in front of the other, and they'll just keep going, and they should take the 4 points. But, Holbrook is fairly competitive, and, if they're really trying to get in that 6th spot, this is the weekend to have a crack at it.
Very competitive at the moment, Holbrook. So, you'd think Osborne, though. The next one at Careen is a very interesting game. Now, Henty, here's their chance, I reckon. CDHBU aren't setting the world on fire at the moment, and whilst Henty are bottom of the ladder for a reason, they'd be sniffing an opportunity here.
Yeah, and look, you've got to just take those opportunities when they've come. CDHBU are quite a settled team, but I think they might just beat Henty on the weekend, but I'm sure the Henty girls will go out there and give it their best shot. Yep.
Randall Bundry Walla, they take on Jindera. This will be at Walla Walla, and the Bulldog girls will be very confident of keeping their top 2 spot intact here. Well, win, lose or draw, they'll stay second this week, but another win, if they chalk one up here, just edges them ever closer to cementing that.
Yeah, and I think Jindera should account for Randall Bundry Walla, but, the Giants had a really good half against the Crows last week. So if they start well, you just never know what might happen. So, every team up there in the top 6 are really just going to have to work really hard every week and not take any team for granted at this point in the competition.
Yep, spot on. Billabong Crows and the Brockburham Saints at Oaklands. You'd think the Crows here will win. They need to start winning by some big margins, though. They've got some percentage gap to make up.
Yeah, and I think they'll be looking for a big percentage boosting game this weekend. And I think the Crows should account for the same.
Right. Now, at Urana, here we go. One of the two matches of the round this weekend, no question about it. Colcan and the Murray Magpies. Now, this could go a long way to sorting out that sixth spot this game. Colcan win. They go 2 games clear of the Magpies. Lose, and they're dead equal. I tell you what, it's the old-fashioned 8-point game.
Yeah, and look, I mean, both teams are really, they're vying for that 6-6 position on the ladder, and Colcan will be looking to continue their form from last week and just, cement that position in the top 6. But I think the Magpies are going to throw everything they can at them and improve their prospects of playing finals in September. So it's going to be a really interesting outcome, this game on Saturday. On Colcan's performance, I think I might tip them from last weekend.
Okay. And the last match of the round, what about this one? This is a beauty as well. This is probably match of the round. Lockhart, third on the ladder, taking on How Long at the moment, fourth on the ladder. Only 2 premiership points between them. How Long win this game? They leapfrog Lockhart. Lockhart win it. They go a game and a half clear. There's plenty to play for.
There definitely is, and How Long are in really good form at the moment, and Lockhart, they're just trying to play some settled netball, and look, they had a really tough game last week, but they really, they know what they're up against now, and I think if they can put it together, it's going to be a really interesting game. My heart says Lockhart, but I think with How Long's form at the moment, they might just get away with the win.
Should be a big round, this one. Round 12 of matches in Hume Netball. Carla, anything else before we wrap it up today?
No, all good. I think Henty are looking forward to getting out. Their new club facilities back there are ready to go, so they're quite excited to be out at Henty and testing out the new club rooms there. So good luck to Henty on the weekend, and everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the netball.
And you too, Carla. Thanks for joining us here on the Flow Friday Night Sports Show.
Thanks, Joe.